Greetings to all. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you're doing great. Welcome once again to a safe space where you're allowed to have an opportunity with me to inspire, equip, and empower. As I say, there's a safe space for you and I to explore different topics, different series, and we get an opportunity just to look at different things, different life. And I'm a book writer, so I talk a lot about my books. I'm a public speaker. I also sometimes post a lot of my engagement on this YouTube platform. So welcome. Today I want us to talk about something that I've been seeing a lot on socials, and it's something that has been, bothering me as to why are we not addressing this before it destroys us, before it actually because this thing is not good, man. It's not good. Today you ask what is that I would like us to talk about. I'd like us to look on performative activism. We'll be looking at performative activism. I know someone is wondering as to what is that. Performative activism is, it is when someone prioritizes appearing to care over actually doing the work of change. It's when someone prioritizes appearing to care over over actually doing the work of change. And a lot of times we do that, and I've seen that with a lot of topics, and especially around the GBV topic. And I know it's a sensitive one, and one should really tread carefully around it before I'm called out and cancelled. And I've seen that a lot around the topic, where people easily rush to cancel someone, whereas they are not seeing that sometimes what we are actually participating on is now performative activism, and our justice is actually now being selective rather than being realistic to the issue at hand and actually addressing the issue, but rather we are now finding ourselves wanting to appear to care over actually doing the work of change. And we've done that a lot of times. We have a lot of topics in our country that are actually burning that needs us to actually be more aggressive than we are. Maybe by aggressive, I'm not even trying to say that we should go up in arms. In fact, I'm one of the people who do not believe that. Normally, it is said that South Africans are not angry enough. I don't believe that. I don't think we need to be angry. I think we need to be real. By real, I mean we need to stop compensating those who are aggrieved most with those who actually know what to do. I don't think we should be angry enough and head to streets, burn everything, riot and loot. I think what we need to do as a country, we need to be realistic, stop compensating those who seem to be most aggrieved, those who seem to be more rejected by the politics and think that they are the radical ones. They are not. And stop actually thinking that those who are supposedly hated by the whites, they are the good ones, and we should put them in power, because what if that is also the exact thing that they want us to think? Because there's this thing I always talk about, which is propaganda, where they are actually spreading misinformation in hopes that we will believe it as truth and hold it as truth. Remember that a lot of lies, a lot of lies with a little bit of truth can easily be assumed as truth. A lot of lies with a little bit of truth can easily be assumed as truth. And a lot of these things, they are entailed by that. A lot of these things that I've just summed up. Now heading back to the topic I said we will be talking about are fueled by that. It is a lot of lies, but they are just decorated with one truth in it that you cannot dispute, that is known publicly, and then that one truth is as if it now carries that whole other narrative that is not so true. And that is what they actually do. They want us to be convinced of another thing while driving to another thing. So back to the topic on performative activism. I was trying to correct that word when I said we need to be aggressive. By aggressive, I mean, and I really want to put this in context. By aggressive, we mean we should be more intentional in selecting those who are experts over those who are politically affiliated and those who are aggrieved politically, or those who are rejected politically. Because the fact that you're rejected politically doesn't make you a saint all of a sudden. The fact that you are grieved politically doesn't make you the best candidate for the country to be led by you all of a sudden. What we need as a country, we need those who are actually experts in fields to actually lead, those who know enough to lead that space, those who understand the field enough to lead in the space. We need a finance person to lead our treasury. We need a governance person to lead the entire cabinet of government. We need a person who understands electricity to lead the department of electricity. And we've seen it before. It's not that it's something we haven't seen before. We've seen it before where ministerial roles and cabinets or office where they were occupied by people who were effective. But because politics doesn't, not every time it wants effective people, sometimes it wants people who are affiliated politically most of the time to run those offices. Hence, we've seen good people who are reshuffled to another position and they are ineffective because they are misplaced, they are mismatched. But back to the topic on performative activism. So, as I said, that performative activism, it is prioritizing appearing to care over actually doing the work. And I was just trying to go to the topic on. We've seen a lot of performative activism in different scenarios or different episodes in our country. We've seen it when it comes to the topic of GBV. We've seen it in the topic of inequality. We've seen it in the topic of crime. We've seen it in the topic of injustice. We've seen it even around our commissions, as we've been having a lot of commissions. We've seen it a lot of performative activism. But one of the biggest and one of the most highlights of that for me, there was a campaign not so long ago that was done where people were spreading an awareness. By the way, one of the good things about the performative activism is that it does spread the awareness, but it doesn't necessarily drive the change that much. So, in terms of spreading awareness, it does do that work. But in terms of actual change and actual transformation, where we're now seeing tangible results of that activism, it's not that much evident when it comes to that department. And as I was saying, there was a campaign not so long ago where we saw, but one of the things that I really do not like about performative activism is that a lot of times it always activates that selective justice that we always land to as a country. It always activates that. We always find ourselves reaching a point whereby we have selective activism. It always go hand in hand. It first starts as a performative activism, then all of a sudden it changes to selective activism. What do I mean by selective activism? Where we want to be activist when it suits us and whenever it's someone attached to it. By me saying someone attached to it, I mean when it's the person who's not my favorite at the time. Then I want to be an activist. All of a sudden I want justice. I want to see change. I want all of a sudden I want to see consequences. And when the same scenario happened to another person, we are all of a sudden silent. So I call it selective justice or selective activism that we normally it's so ironic. It always starts as performative activism and all of a sudden it changes. It goes to selective justice, where we just want justice just because the person now who is in the end of justice, it is the person that maybe who's not a favorite to a lot of people. But when you check the sin that this person is weighed against, it's a similar sin to someone who's not so long ago did the same thing, but we were like, calm down, we all make mistakes, we brush it down. And but with this person, we are enraged, we cancel culture all of a sudden. All these things now, all of a sudden, we are activists, we are fixing the country. We like that, fixing the country. But if you check, it's not even fixing the country that is a priority. It is appearing to care over actually doing the work of change. It's appearing to care over actually doing the work of change. And as I said, we do that a lot. So now what does performative activism looks like? What does it look like? A lot of times we like posting slogans, hashtags, and we do that a lot. Hashtag justice for who? Hashtag justice for this. And where we are in outrage, and we miss the point that a lot of times whenever we are in our performative activism mode, we go to outrage mode during the crisis, and always the crisis is not fixed, but yet we are in flames, we are in fire, we are burning, we are, there's a term that we like using, like, vuka mntu omnyama, vuka daki, and we do all these things, but at the end of the day, that the issue still lingers, the crisis still lingers, it still requires us to answer. to give account. But we yet we're enraged, we are like up in arms, and that's what performative activism looks like, where we are publicly condemning injustice while privately benefiting from, you know, where we are publicly condemning it, but privately we are benefiting from. How many times have you seen a lot of people who are shown on TV and on news that they participated in a lot of crimes, they participated in corruption, they were benefiting, they were getting jobs illegally because they're connected to whatever and whoever, and we're all up in rage, like, oh, sure. Don't get me wrong, they should. Like, if there's enough evidence to for such. We are up in arms. We are fighting. We need justice. Justice must be served. Hey, and you forget that you are the one who also bribes the traffic cop whenever you are found speeding and without your seatbelts. And you look at that sin, because that sin is worth 40 million and that person is driving a Bentley and you are just driving your Toyota, and you see them more of a criminal and evil than you are, who bribes a traffic cop in Spaghetti Junction when you're found speeding. It's that. Your social media. Hey, you're in fire. In flame. You're like you're busy. Butchering them. You're bringing evidence, but you're the same person who doesn't pay their electricity bill. And because that crime is worth, and that crime is depriving millions and millions of other people who should be benefiting from that service, you regard yourself as a saint over that person because their sin is public and it is now known and they've been caught. Performative activism. It will always miss fixing the crisis that is at hand, and it will always be performative, as the word says. It will always be performative. It will never be true prioritizing the actual work of change. It will always prioritize being seen as the person who is radical, who is, And one of the things about it, let us be honest, it really feels, as if you're missing out on a historic moment whenever it erupts. Performative activism is contagious. Let us be honest. Whenever that hashtag, that asimkakwen fasite moment comes, you always feel like, hey, I'm missing out on a revolution, man. Things are changing. We are doing these things. We are confronting this thing. But it's the feel. It's the feel, but it never aligns with justice, and it never attaches to actual change. It's always just a bunch of people in the streets running up and down. But so long it's far from the actual change that we need to see in our country, it will always be performative rather than actually transformative. And it always replaces long-term civic responsibility with momentary emotional expression. One of the issues that we have in our country that I know you guys are going to bash me, you probably even try to cancel me. We have this immigration challenge where we are foreign, illegal. I want to talk about the illegals almost, where we are foreign, illegal immigrant in our country who are doing a lot of evil things in our country. That's what they're doing. They're doing a lot of evil things in our country. And our approach to it's always emotional rather than realistic. It's always, we march, we do all these things. Don't get me wrong, we should, if that's part of the first step towards actual change. But what we need more than actually heading to the streets, we need laws, actual laws that will actually be upheld by our government and those who are working for the government. We need systems that we need to put in place. We need actual borders around our country. We need actual, accessing monetary tools or monetary laws or systems that we need to put in place that will monitor. If a person comes through a way that is not legally a way to come into the country, that person needs to face those consequences. So it's not about us heading to the streets, burning them or whatever that we try to do whenever we are outraged by such. We need, so that it doesn't become consistently that every year we now and then march. Every year we now and then. And if you check, these issues are recurring issues, they are not new issues. That what always sabotages the actual desire that we have of seeing the change we want to see in our country. So the dangers of performative activism in a society like South Africa is that it confuses noise with progress. Ooh, I like that, because that's one of the things I've been crying about a lot. It confuses noise for progress. It weakens accountability. You know, whenever you're doing the wrong things, trying to fix the wrong thing, you'll always miss the opportunity to hold accountable the ones who should be accountable. I'll say it again. Whenever you are doing wrong to fix the wrong, you'll always miss an opportunity to hold accountable those who should be held accountable. Hence, the second danger of performative activism for our country, it weakens our accountability. And another thing is that it erodes trust. It erodes trust. How can you trust the same person who benefits from something on the behind, but at the same time, it is the same person who in their Facebook, abahambe, yet in December you were buying a sneaker from an illegal foreigner who's in the country, and you never said agahambe just because now you're benefiting from that same person. It erodes trust. It erodes trust. It's not consistent. And it turns suffering into content. It turns suffering. I cannot emphasize this enough. It turns suffering, it turns the injustice that is continuously happening to our people by the government of this country. It turns it into it reduces it, in fact. That's how our mom must put it. It reduces the suffering into content. It reduces the severity of what we're facing as a country to content. It reduces it just to TikTok likes and TikTok's comment and to repost. And we worry as to why are we not seeing the solution. The last point is that it discourages quiet, disciplined work. It really discourages it. Because while there are those who are taking it, to socials with the hashtag this is the way forward, or hashtag this is the thing, hashtag narcissist must die and go, hashtag this and that. There are those who are doing the work quietly. There are those who are doing the work. There are organizations, there are people, individuals who are doing the work quietly. It really discourages them. It discourages them because even our approach to it, whenever it's time for us to get into it, it's always misinformed. It's always misdirected because it is performative. But the deeper problem we are facing as a country is that at its core, performative activism is a refusal to pay the cost of change. That's the thing. There are things we claim we want them to change, but in actual fact, if those things actually change, we will not enjoy. Have you ever thought of this? We are among many countries in Africa, maybe the only, if not one of the fewest countries that are rendering the benefits that we are rendering. One of the benefits you get in South Africa, either it's of high quality or not high quality, but one of the benefits you get in South Africa that is also making us being the center of all these foreign immigrants, it is that in South Africa you get free medication from most of the hospitals that are public. Either it's good medication or bad medication, that's not the question at the moment, but you get medication. And in other countries, you even pay for a painkiller. You pay for a painkiller in other countries. And for us to actually address the illegal immigration challenge, we need to first talk about that. For us to actually get rid of that, We need to talk on, there are a lot of benefits that people are getting in our country. There are a lot of illegal foreigners that are benefiting from all the grants that are available in our country. So we need to talk about the grant system. So there are a lot of things that are happening in our country that are attracting us troubles, but they are supposed to be benefits to us who are citizens. Hence I said one of the things we need to fix is not to give power to those who are mostly aggrieved, but we need to give power to those who are experts in the field so that we could be directed to the right direction. And a country that doesn't have one dream, one vision, that country is not going to head anywhere. So it's important that we answer this question that we fear to ask whenever it is opportunity for us to be performative. And the question is, how can I be seen as just without becoming disciplined? Whenever it's time for you to take up that phone, go to the streets, be live on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to be live, mostly it's TikTok. Ask yourself this question. Are you doing what you're doing because you want to be seen as just without becoming disciplined? While yes, we should fight for our country to come back to us, yes, but the question still stands. What you are doing exactly at that moment, are you doing it just to be seen just without actually becoming disciplined? Or are you actually one of the patriots that are actually building this country towards the right direction? Last, if not least, how do we spot non-performative activism? First of all, non-performative activism is not loud, it's silent. It's more quieter and it's slower because it's progress. It shows up even when cameras are gone. It accepts discomfort, loss, and patience. It measures success by outcomes, not applause. It is willing to be misunderstood if it remains effective. So I know someone might have been asking, as during the first part of this video, you seem to be bashing a lot of things. How then do we see non-performative activism? It shows up even when cameras are gone. It accepts discomfort, loss, and patience. It measures success by outcome, not applause. It is willing to be misunderstood if it remains effective. Here's my parting words. South Africa doesn't need loud voices. South Africa needs credible voices. I'll say it again. South Africa doesn't need loud voices. South Africa needs credible voices. We should stop being performative. We are not radical enough if our radicality is seen whenever we've changed a profile picture and posted a hashtag. It doesn't start there. We should be credible, even behind the scenes where no one is seeing what we are actually benefiting from. Before going to socials to be up in arms, we first need to be off social and be credible when no one is seeing. Thank you.